Good evening, it's meteorologist Michael Fecca. Welcome back to the 9 p.m. all-weather, all-streaming show we do here every night during the workdays and on weekends. We stream it out to all of our streaming platforms, including Facebook and YouTube. So if you're joining from either place, please feel free to leave us a question or a comment. Hopefully I'll be able to get through them all as I go through the forecast, but if not, I'll go through at the very end and see if I can answer anything individually for you. Let's get started here with a look at our headlines and what we're tracking out for the next couple of days. Well, it's going to stay relatively quiet here tonight and even into tomorrow. We'll be partly cloudy. We'll stay mostly dry for our Sunday. Outside of a stray shower chance can't be completely ruled out, but really not tracking out anything that would disrupt any outdoor plans either. But I do think we have better chances for a few scattered showers and storms by the time we get into Monday. And then beyond Monday, it looks like we dry back out through the middle and even towards the end of the work week. We should stay dry and pleasant with plentiful sunshine, and those dew points, they're going to be dropping as well. So it's going to feel a lot more comfortable out there. Even though temperatures still should be in the 80s, it won't feel all sticky and hot as it has been for the last week. But here's a look at our radar set up across the U.S. We've got some severe thunderstorms moving through the central plains right now, Kansas and Nebraska, seeing a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings there for damaging winds, even one down there towards southern Missouri. But we're on the better side of this stationary front. We're on the northern half, so that means we've got a little bit more in the way of some drier air. So that is what's kept those showers and storms out of the tri-state and farther off to the southwest. Taking a closer look, we did wake up this morning with some clouds and a few spotty showers, primarily over western Kentucky, but we really dried out and cleared out nicely through the afternoon. So hopefully you were able to take advantage of that, get outside and do something fun. The Shriners Fest was going on in downtown Evansville. It still is. So if you're planning on headed there later on, it still will be a great night for it. It'll be nice and comfortable. We do still have partly cloudy skies, and we have a few showers back across southern Illinois that will likely fizzle out before they even reach the tri-state. So no issues with rainfall here, at least over the next 12 hours. And then headed into tonight, temperatures continue to drop down into the lower 60s, so it's going to be nice and cool and comfortable. And then tomorrow will warm right back up into the lower 80s. Very similar to what we got to earlier today. Mostly dry. Again, can't rule out a stray shower with that frontal boundary being so close, but again, a lot of us will stay dry for the second half of the weekend as well. So here's a look at the future radar here going through tonight and into tomorrow morning. We'll see more cloud cover build in, so we'll wake up to some of the clouds, but it does look like they clear out through the afternoon and into the evening hours. So it's not going to be maybe as sunny as it was today, but you'll still get a little bit of sunshine out there. And again, any chances for showers that develop look to stay off to our south and to our west. So maybe grazing portions of western Kentucky, but not expecting much out of that until we get into Monday. That's when that frontal boundary kind of nudges itself back to the north, and that's where it puts us a little bit more under the gun for better chances of showers and storms. Still only looking at a 40% chance, so it's not going to be widespread. It'll still be fairly isolated or scattered. And then high pressure builds in nicely through the middle of the work week, so that drops those percentages way down to around 0 before they kick back up again headed into next weekend. So here's a look at the severe storm risk for Monday. We're not looking at any widespread severe weather here. It's only a small portion of the tri-state that's included in this level 1 out of 5 risk for severe thunderstorms, but it does include portions of southern Illinois and some of western Kentucky there, and that's mainly to the south and west of Evansville. So an isolated strong to severe storm can't be ruled out on Monday, but I think most folks will probably just get away with your typical shower and thunderstorm activity. But here's a look at the longer range European model. So it brings that frontal boundary close enough to get clipped by some of those showers. It does keep the bulk of that thunderstorm activity still off to the south and west. So that's why the entire tri-state is not really outlooked for severe thunderstorms, but again, that may wobble or expand or shrink over the next day or so. Continue to stay tuned, but as of right now, we're not concerned enough to really put an alert day out there. And then high pressure builds in from the north over the Great Lakes. That'll help push that frontal boundary farther off to the south, so we dry out nicely Tuesday, Wednesday, and on Thursday. And you'll notice those wind arrows coming out of the north and east. So that's going to provide us with a lot more of a drier air mass. So it's not necessarily going to cool us down all that much. We'll still hang out in the lower 80s, but the humidity will be dropping. So it won't feel as muggy and moist out there. So you'll actually be able to enjoy the outdoors without sweating so much. But that does change. By the time we get towards the end of next week, we'll have that high pressure system sliding off to our east. So that brings the winds back up out of the south and that's when it starts to get a little bit warmer and a little bit more muggy, all out ahead of another frontal boundary that'll slide in here through next weekend. That'll bring in some better chances for additional showers that may linger through the entirety of the weekend and into the start of the following week. So that is kind of a longer range outlook there. Obviously, a lot can change, especially with those frontal boundaries that kind of float around. So it won't be a complete washout, but you will notice that by Tuesday and Wednesday, we're in that dry category for humidity, and then we start to shoot back up towards the end of the work week, Friday, and into next weekend, back up into that humid to possibly even muggy status. So hopefully you can get out there and enjoy some of that more comfortable weather by the middle of next week. And here's a look at those temperatures to go along with those lower dew points, still hanging out in the lower 80s Tuesday, Wednesday, and even into Thursday before we start to bump back up above average into the mid 80s. So there's a look at your temperature outlook. So through the end of the month and into the start of June, it still looks like temperatures will remain slightly above normal, especially with that high pressure placement off to the east. So that's where we're going to continue to see those winds coming up from the south, and with those southerly winds we get additional moisture, so it does look like precipitation should remain around average or even slightly above. So expect your typical early summer, late spring kind of air mass type thunderstorms, especially when it gets a little bit more humid. The heating of the day, you'll always get a couple of those spotty showers and storms. So I'm expecting more in the way of that headed into the following week, but much of next week still looks dry. Now, as we round out the month of May, I do want to bring up some of those statistics. It has been a very dry year so far, especially for this spring, which is typically some of our wettest months of the year. But April was very dry, and May, while we did catch up a little bit here over the last 2 weeks with all the rain we've had, it still wasn't enough to break us out of that deficit. We've only picked up a little bit more than 3.5 inches of rain for the month of May, and that's still below average by around 1.4 inches. And for the year, we're still running a pretty good deficit, a little bit more than 6.5 inches. We've only picked up around 14.69 of liquid equivalent precipitation since January 1st, and temperatures, while they've been comfortable and near average this last week, we started out the month on the cooler side, so that has kind of tilted the scales a little bit in that cooler territory. So our average normal temperature is hanging out at around 1.2 degrees below where it should be. But while we're still in a deficit, we did see some improvements to that drought monitor. With all the rain over the last 2 weeks, it did take a good chunk out of that drought, especially across southern Indiana. We no longer have any abnormally dry areas or drought-stricken areas. We do have a little bit out towards Spencer and Perry County, but most of the drought issues still remain over western Kentucky. They were originally placed in even some of that extreme drought category across Hopkins, Muhlenberg, and Ohio County, but that has been dropped down to the south. So the rain is helping. Any little bit we get will continue to help out the drier ground, especially the farmers. They really need it. But looking at the next 7 days, we don't really see anything super widespread, so nothing that would really help clear us out of that drought. But again, we'll have some showers and thunderstorms on Monday. An isolated strong to severe thunderstorm can't be completely ruled out, and then we dry out nicely Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Even into Friday looks mostly dry, with temperatures hanging out in the low to mid 80s. So it's going to feel really nice out there. I encourage you guys to get out there and enjoy it, because this type of weather is kind of hard to come by. We're in that sweet spot in the year where we can still get out of that humidity at some points, and the temperatures aren't so hot. As we get into the summer, you know that humidity is going to be cranking, and those temperatures will likely be up in the 90s, so it's not as pleasant to be outside anymore. So let me go ahead and take that full screen, and while that's up, I'll go ahead and check out some of the comments and see if I can answer any questions that you may have. All right. James asking about what I was just talking about. So when will we get the 90-degree weather and the heat index of 100? It's that time of year. Not quite yet. We don't see that in the forecast just yet. So, take it while we've got it. I highly recommend Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to be a great time to get outdoors. Drew asking about, am I working tomorrow for the last time? Yes, tomorrow will be my last broadcast here on 14 News. I'll be moving on to another sister station out in Portland. So it's been a fun 2 years here. I can't wait to get started, but I'm going to miss it a lot. I miss you guys, and I'll miss the weather team for sure. Tammy says, the weather was great for a big family pool, birthday bash. Thanks, Mother Nature. Laura Gray is watching from Dawson Springs. Thank you for joining us. How's the forecast looking for the Dominican Republic next week? Got a friend going down there for mission work. I don't actually have the answer for that, but maybe I'll take a look at it and we can circle back to that tomorrow. Deborah says, good evening. Good evening to you as well, and thank you for joining us on the stream. That is all the questions I'm really seeing here, so I'm going to hop off the live stream and I'll send you guys over to 14 News at 10 for all the latest news and weather headlines. Until then, everybody, stay safe and have a great rest of your night.